there, this is Jason Tremblay, and welcome back to the tour of the Athlete Management System, the 8th edition. This video is a big one. This is where we're going to talk about writing programs using the Athlete Management System. And in my opinion, this is the strongest feature, and it's what it's designed to do. So I'll share my screen and let's get started. Okay, so in the last videos, in the first video, we covered setting up the coach dashboard. In the second video, we covered making an annual training plan. In the third video, we covered setting up a title page to organize your work and better inform the client. Now we're going to dig into the template. So the first thing we're going to do, never, ever, ever write a program in the template, because if you lose that, you're kind of screwed. You may have to start a new file for the client. So make sure that you duplicate it, and then you're going to have to label it as week 1, week 2, week 3. You have to label it that way. Otherwise, the copy macro, the copy app script button, won't recognize what sheet it's trying to copy, and I'll go into that in a later call. The next thing is we'll just select the settings down here. So what kind of phase the athlete's in, whether they're healthy, whether they miss some time, whether it's full or partial, because maybe if we're trying to analyze for a dose-response relationship between the training we're doing and the results we're getting, you want to omit partial or full-time missed weeks from that analysis. So it's kind of like a sort function. The macro cycle that they're in, date will automatically populate, and microcycle. So down here, I have some loose templates that you can copy and paste in. They're completely empty because we write our training from scratch. We write our training custom. But let's say that we're going to do back squat and bench press on day 1. So I'm going to copy and paste values. Whenever I put an odd number in this row, it's going to shade in dark blue, and whenever I put an even number, it's going to shade in light blue. So this helps to visually identify that this is all one exercise or one exercise pairing. And then let's do, maybe we'll do a lower body accessory exercise. We'll do seated 45-degree leg press, 2 to 3 minutes, and this is a hypertrophy workout, right? So let's make it 6 to 10 reps. We'll do RP 5 to 6 since it's an intro week. We'll build on that in the coming weeks. And then let's do maybe a dumbbell incline chest press. Same thing. And then maybe this is all the time the client has, so we'll do tricep press downs, for 3 sets, 10 to 15, and we'll do a little bit higher RP because it's an isolation exercise. So next up, if you want to track these, you just select the muscle group that they train, and you'll see the system will then track the number of sets, number of lifts, and the average RPE accordingly. And actually, I just want to set the system back to RPE here. Okay, there we go. And you see RPE adjusts throughout the file as well. So we're going to do training on day 1, SB plus ACC accessories. We'll do training on day 2, deadlift and accessories. Then we'll do a rest day. Then we'll do SB plus accessories, rest, and then we'll do SBD, sport form day, on the final day of the week. So let's go on to the deadlift. So I'm gonna copy this, and then we'll do Romanian deadlift. We'll just copy and paste the scheme that we're doing from above. Say that's hamstrings. Maybe we want to do a barbell hip thrust also. So this is turning into quite a challenging posterior chain workout, but you need that to be a good deadlifter. So sometimes we'll fire it up on clients like this, and then end the day off with some back work. I like to prioritize, maybe we'll do a barbell chest supported row. Say they have a steel row bench. And then we'll do a lat pull down. Count how many sets we have. Deadlift's not going to take long, so why don't we do, give them a little bicep curl too. That's okay. So we'll go through. We'll track what we're doing here for muscle groups, and then whenever I want to start a new day, I'll type in day 3, and then now we're on to squat and bench again. So I'm going to copy this in. Now our focus is more on strength. As we get near the bottom of the week, the start of the week is more of a hypertrophy. This is more strength. So for squat, bench, let's do a little bit of close grip bench press afterward. We'll do that with a controlled tempo for some hypertrophy benefit, and I'll copy over the scheme for that. So maybe we'll progress within a let's do a 4 to 8 rep range, just a little bit heavier, but still, within the 75 to 85% 1RM range. And then we'll do some seated leg extensions for a little bit of extra quad work. But we don't want to be too sore for the final day, so we'll keep reps. We're not going to do 10 to 15 reps or anything like that. And we'll keep the volume on the lower end of things. And then maybe we'll do some more back. So let's hit a Penlay row. Actually, I think I would like the order of doing leg extensions last. So we'll switch the order of these things. Maybe we want to do we'll do a dumbbell line tricep extension as well. So something like that. And then we'll end the day off with leg extensions. And so this is still it's still structured towards hypertrophy, because one of the objectives of the preparatory phase was hypertrophy, but we're also moving more towards a strength focus as the week goes on. So we'll mark that as a triceps movement, mark this back movement, this triceps movement, quadriceps movement. Okay, and then for our final day of the week, we're just going to copy this. And the reason why I like to copy this template is because it has 2 rows of for training work sets in case you want to do top sets or something like that. And then type in end when the program's done. So I'm just going to clear out these cells. I'm going to paste this in row 61, the RP slider that we use for our clients. Merge the space into a weekly notes cell in case I want to write something or the client wants to write something. copy and paste our training headers. So got the training program, sort of, we haven't programmed the main lifts. And then we've got the training split, the training information, RP slider, weekly notes. This is ready to program on. So the next thing, let's say we're going to do 3 sets of 8 at 70%. We'll start at 3 sets of 6 at 70%, and then we'll do 4 sets of 4 at 75%. And then, you know, for the sake of this video, we'll do some sort of top set. So let's do 1 set of 3 at 6 RP. Now, with the 6 RP, that's quite low, but it should still populate. If you want to populate suggested weights via RPE, just enable the standard RPE load profile, and these will pop up. And then you'll see that the load cells populating an RPE, but it's pretty similar. So like, let's actually make this an RP7. So now it'll be 152.5 kilos, and then drop down a little bit and get some more practice in. So we'll copy the similar formatting for bench press. Maybe 1 more set, just push a little bit more. And then on deadlift, let's actually do some singles only programming on deadlift. So we'll start with 10 sets of 1 at 70%. And if you don't want the RPE there, because this is super easy work, just put a dash through it. 45, 60 seconds rest, 60 to 90 seconds rest. We'll do 6 sets of 1 at 80%. And then we have tons of posterior chain accessory work as well to kind of make up for the volume of doing singles only. So this week is ready to go, and you see that we already have data calculating, showing us our current week, showing us the percentage of peak volume that we're at overall in the entire system within the macro cycle. So within this area, within the mesocycle last week. Later on, we'll have the acute to chronic workload ratio, weighted intensity, RP, the training 1 rep maximum. So you can select through to view different things. If you want to count number of sets or hard sets, you can do that too. Or chronic volume, and compare that to the most you've done. You'll also see that we have a training journal here, and this is something that's quite nice for clients. We have an athlete log, we have a post-workout survey, and then we have a training journal. So in the next video, I'll go over the training journal and athlete monitoring features, but let's keep building our program, because let's say we're not quite done yet and we want to progress things. So I'm going to duplicate week 1. And then I'm going to rename it as week 2. Change this to build. I'm going to add 2 reps across the board to squat and bench. And I'm going to add 2 sets and 2.5% intensity on deadlift. I'm also going to add 1 set across the board on my accessories. And I'm going to increase the RPE a little bit. So you notice whenever I'm typing in, I'm putting an apostrophe before. That's just so Excel doesn't recognize this, or Google Sheets doesn't recognize this as a date. And that should actually be at 7 to 8. Okay, and so we'll just copy this down a little bit. Perfect. Maybe for week 1, I will just leave out the top set because the weights are so similar as well. And then if you need to recover your RP formula, you can just do that. Okay, so now we've added in the top set for week 2. I think that's a lot better. Okay, so in the next week, I'm going to show you some of the more interesting features of the athlete management system when it comes to analyzing data and also prescribing training. So instead of, you see, we can progress load by 2.5% to add 5 kilos. But let's say I want to add only 2.5 kilos because they struggled in that workout. So you can actually just make sure that you've named everything correctly. In the load column here, you can type in that I want to add 2.5 or 0 or negative 2.5. And it's going to change the weight based on last week's weight for that exercise. So maybe we'll just progress squat by 5 kilos and bench by 2.5 for this week. And we'll leave that final day as a little bit of we'll do something different with it. Okay, on deadlift, we'll go up by 2.5%. And then we'll do, whoops, don't want the percentage there, a 5 kilo increase on squat. Now, let's say we're going to do a top set at RP8 and you want to prescribe a load drop off of it. So instead of just calculating out, I want to do 80% of my estimated 1 rep maximum from doing a triple at RP8, you could also say, I want to, by typing in load drop over here, do 15% or let's say 10% less weight than the top set. So this, by typing in load drop, the kilo cell will calculate 90% or a 10% reduction in weight from the top set. And then you can prescribe load drops in the program. Alternatively, you could also do it as, and this is sometimes the way I do it, you can say determine E1 or M, calculate off of E1 or M. So the athlete will do their 1 set of 3 at RP8. Whatever their estimated 1 rep maximum is, they'll calculate 80% of that, load that on the bar, and then do their back off. So a few different options there. It is a flexible system to accommodate different styles of training. So we'll say determine E1 or M, calculate off. Actually, for this one, we'll just do a back off, a load drop, sorry. So you can say 10%. And that's perfect. Okay, so now that we're getting into the nitty gritty of the system, you can see that we have a progression in volume here each week of the program. And you could also see that now we're starting to compare against the overall. So this is saying is when it's over 100%, it's saying you're doing more workload than the athlete's ever done before, at least in this training system. So we're comparing to our previous max workload volume. It's also saying we're doing more workload in the macrocycle and mesocycle than we've done before. And that makes a lot of sense because, we just started. So the number here is the most amount of workload in the system or in the macrocycle, which is here, or in the mesocycle, which is, I believe, the previous 6 weeks. So up here, this is what we did last week. So on squat, we did 9,018 kilos. Now we're doing 9,272 kilos. So that's a 103%, it's a 3% increase in load. We're doing 103% of the load of last week. We have the acute to chronic workload ratio, which is not quite complete yet. We need to do one more week of programming first. Weighted intensity, so on and so forth. So let's finish out this preparatory phase with a taper, and then you'll be able to see more of the acute to chronic workload ratio also. So for the taper, we're just going to oh, and there's one thing that I forgot to do, which is progress all of the accessory exercises. Okay, there. So with the taper, we're going to half the sets. We're going to take the accessory exercises. We're going to deload those. So we're going to slash them down to 2 sets at RP 5 to 6 because we don't want them to cause much fatigue. We're also going to lift the same weight that we did last week. So when I was doing manual load progressions, now I can just type in 0 to lift the same weight as last week. And maybe we want to assess strength by working up to an RP 9 triple before the next block begins. So we'll do something like that, and then maybe on deadlift, that's all we want to do is work up to an RP 9 triple. So whenever you're deloading or tapering, a good target for me is 50% of last week volumes. We see that we still have to take the volume down a little bit. And that's more than enough. So I'll only drop 1 rep on day 1. So that's 47%. On bench, 50%. So we're perfect there. And then on deadlift, let's do 45%. That's perfect. So it's a good taper. This will give us an idea of where the client is at heading into the next program. So in the next video, I'll cover out how to send this program to the athlete, and then also we'll get into athlete monitoring. See you in the next video.